Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Module 6 as you are hitting the home stretch here. I wanted to address a few things as we get into this last module because clearly the images that you're going to see, the objects you're going to see are quite different in many ways than anything that we've come across to this point. And some might say, well, why are we putting all these other cultures, so to speak, at the end of the semester? Well, there is a reason for that. And so what I want to do in this hopefully short video is to hit on three points, right, and kind of give you an explanation, an overview, and both sides of the debate, quite frankly, the argument for why we handle it this way. So what we've been doing is following sort of a well-trodden path of covering the development of art, right, and we've gone from the cave paintings all the way through Middle Ages, Gothic, modern, and you'll notice most of it is art of the West, and there's a reason for that. So the first point, why do we handle it that way? Well, the working definition that we began with in this course, that art conveys an idea that is more than the object that you're looking at. Michelangelo's David, for example. The idea conveyed is courage, strength, bravery, whatever people draw from it. But the thing is stone, right? And it's carved in the form of a male human figure, right? But that's not the idea. That's not what it quote unquote means, right? And so that is a very Western thing. We can trace that back to the Greeks. We know, and Plato talks about it, right? On the one hand, be careful about art because it's a copy of a copy of a thing, right? On the other hand, Polykleitos in developing his canon, right? The nude figure as a symbol of perfection, right? Polykleitos would say, look, this isn't a portrait. I'm not going out and capturing the way any one person looks because no one person could ever achieve this level of perfection that we're talking about. So he cobbles together the best parts, right? Observable parts, puts it together, but understanding that the nude figure in ancient Greece is a symbol of the perfection that we should all be aspiring to, right? So that's a very Western construct, okay? So that's the first big idea. Now, are there other cultures that produce art that stands for something more than what the thing is? Of course, these are global ideas now, but the origins go back to the Greeks, and this development right through the Romans and then into the early Middle Ages, Christian art, the symbolic Christian art, no one would have thought that gold background, flat figured was Jesus or was the saint. The dove, no one thinks that the dove is the Holy Spirit. These are symbols, right? And so this is a long tradition in the West, okay? So that's the first thing, right? Why do we handle it this way? Because this idea that the art conveys something more than the object that you're looking at is a Western construct. So what does that mean for all these other cultures that we're going to come across in this last module? Certainly they produce images, they produce objects, right? Things for us to view. But watch as you go through these cultures. In many cases, not all, right? Not all, but in many cases, one of the distinguishing features is that the object you're looking at is the thing that it is. It's hard to explain, but what I mean by that is watch these island cultures, right? They will build edifices, these houses, right? And talk about their ancestors and such. But please understand, for these cultures, walking into the house is not walking into a representation of a memorial to some. Walking into the structure is walking into the body of the person that the structure is about, okay? That's a very different thing than the West, right? So that's the second idea, right? What does this have to do with these cultures? In many cases, the thing that you're looking at serves a functional purpose, which, look, art can serve a functional purpose, no problem there, right? But there's more of a one-to-one direct relationship now. The thing that you're looking at is the thing that it is. It's not a representation of something else. Famous example here, I guess. A show is put on in a Western museum on primitivism, right? And the show includes African masks, the headdresses and things that And those things are put on display in acrylic or glass cases, and they're all explained and everything. And everything's going along swimmingly until Africans show up to the show. The Africans who produce some of these images, and they say, "What are you doing?" And the museum curators, "What do you mean? We're recognizing this wonderful art, right? But do you understand what that is, right? Because that's not a headdress. That's a representation of a thing, of an idea. We use those, and we participate in these passion plays, these dances in our communities, and the person putting on is subsumed, becomes the spirit that is represented by the headdress. It's not a representation of the spirit. When this is happening and the passion play is being acted out and it's put in use, that spirit is coming into the town, right? So a completely different thing, right? So that's the second idea. How to phrase that exactly, I don't know. But you get the idea. On the one hand, the West represents something other. On the other hand, here, these objects are the things that we're talking about. They are not just about an idea. The object is the thing that needs to be experienced or used, that sort of thing. And so then the question comes up as I titled this last section, art or craft. So what's the difference, right? And certainly there are wonderful crafts around the world, right? And I just want to give you again both sides of the argument. So if you come across this debate, right, is such and such art, right? One of the distinguishing factors is, well, does it stand for something more than what it is, right? A philosopher once said, if you look at artifacts, like just things that you find from previous cultures, artifacts just take you back to kind of the possibilities of that culture. Okay, you find a bowl, you find something, you find a tool, and it maybe gives you insight into what was possible then. But art not only unlocks those possibilities, but it fires your imagination to consider other things, right? And so that's the question. And you make up your own minds. You be the judge, right? Is there a distinction between art and craft? If so, what is that distinction? Okay, certainly. Again, lots of wonderful crafts to look at, wonderful art. And today, people would say, hey, it's all to the good, because the definition of art has changed anyway and now includes all things. That would be the modernist take. But again, you be the judge. You decide for yourself. Keep up the good work. Any questions, just email me. I look forward to our interaction online. Thank you.